Well, good morning. William Self tells the story about a preaching experience he had at a university campus. After he was done preaching, a young man approached him, and actually, he was accosted by this young fella. And the young fella said, "I don't like what you were saying today." And the preacher asked him, "What part didn't you like?" And he said, "Well, I really didn't listen." And so the preacher asked him, "Well, who are you?" He says, "Well, I'm a seeker." "Well, what are you seeking?" He says, "Well, I'm seeking truth." "Well, have you read anything?" He said, "Nothing in particular." And he finally come to a conclusion, which I agree with oftentimes, is this fellow wasn't seeking anything at all. In fact, he was running and hiding in doubt. Now, there is such a thing as honest doubt, and there's a lot of folks in the Bible that were great men of God. They were men of great faith, but there were times that they had honest doubt. John the Baptist did, Zacharias did, Gideon did. I won't go into all those stories, it's just too long to get into it today. But you'll find if you read the Bible that there were men that were good men that were sincere seekers that sometimes they had doubt. And in Mark chapter 9, you get another example of a fellow that said in verse number 4 to the Lord, "I believe, but help my unbelief." You see, there's times that we struggle with faith. That's just an honest truth. We struggle even though we're believers. But what I found is that oftentimes that our doubt is often connected to our emotions and not the facts of the case. What I mean by that is sometimes, we can be pretty low in our disposition and we're facing circumstances that are very, very difficult, and doubt just might enter into our hearts. But I want you to think about doubt for just a moment. I want to go negative for a moment. It's my judgment that most people who live in doubt are not honest seekers, and they're just hiding and running from the truth. You see, doubt is sort of like the front porch in a house. You got to go through it to get in. And if a person really is a seeker and he's searching and he's investigating and he's looking at the facts, one will come to the conclusion that what the Bible says is absolutely true. And so the question really comes sometimes, are you a honest believer, or is it an insincere doubt? There's another thing the Bible says, and then I'll let you go today. But over in Hebrews chapter 3, there's a warning about not letting your hearts become hardened with unbelief. And the unbelief there is an opposition to God. It's a man that doesn't want to live for God and disobeys God. And so it has a heart of unbelief where he is deliberately opposing the Lord. And a lot of times, just let me say, they're just hiding and running from God, living in doubt. Well, yeah, we struggle with doubt sometimes. That's just a fact of life. And yet we don't want to stay there. Even Thomas, if you remember, said, "Unless I touch the prints in his hands, the nails, I won't believe." But he wasn't hardened in unbelief. So let me just give you a suggestion today. If you're struggling with belief, then and it's an honest doubt, search and seek and find, and you'll find. And don't you rely just on your emotions. Always say, stay with the facts. See you tomorrow.